Hello, my name is Jeanette Shaliga with VGA. We're celebrating VGA's 7th birthday, and right now we've got the amazing Bonnie Wade Mucia, and she's going to be talking about navigating the Mayflower Silver Books, a guide for genealogists. I was able to join the Mayflower Society, and I used the Silver Books with my application, so I'm excited to learn more about this. So thank you, Bonnie. Take it away.
Great. Well, thank you so much for letting me talk about a favorite topic of mine. And I'll be giving you a brief overview of the Silver Books, what it is, the history, and how to use them in your genealogy research. So I'm going to throw a lot of information at you in these 15 minutes. So let's get started. The General Society of Mayflower Descendants, or GSMD, is a lineage society founded in 1897, and it requires applicants prove a direct lineal descent from one of the passengers who traveled to America on the Mayflower in 1620. GSMD is unique for initiating and publishing a set of books that's relevant to the genealogy community, and they're called the Silver Books. They're also known as the Mayflower Family Series, and it's an encyclopedia of Mayflower descendants. The Silver Book started off as an idea in 1899, but the project officially began as the Mayflower Families through the Five Generation Project in 1959. And the first volume was released in 1975, and the most recent books that were published in 2024. So the series begins with a Mayflower passenger and documents five or more generation of their descendants and contributes to genealogical scholarship. Only 26 of the families with known living descendants today, there's only 26 families that have known living descendants today, and only 25 of those have a silver book. These compilations include a family sketch that name the couple and their children, and then they provide sources to these familial connections. So, who uses these books? Well, there's three distinct groups. First are the GSMD historians and lineage verification team who initiated this project, and they make it easier to simplify the lineage so they can prove the application. And an applicant just needs to connect to the silver books to prove their line rather than having to prove all the way back to the Mayflower passenger. And the second are the descendants who purchased these books to learn more about their ancestors. And the third group are genealogists like you who use these books for various purposes, including genealogy research, client work, writing scholarship, and extending family narratives. So the Silver Books trace ancestral lines. It starts in the 1500s and documents families in Europe prior to the Mayflower voyage. And the Mayflower, as I mentioned, landed in November of 1620 at Provincetown, Massachusetts first, and then settled in present-day Plymouth, Massachusetts. And the books recount detailed events during, shortly, and after the voyage, including the birth of Oceanus Hopkins, who was a child born during the journey, and then the death of half the passengers during that first winter of 1620 and 1621, and countless other vital events. These volumes cover key events and facts from the 17th through the 19th centuries. Although the primary focus is on the first five generation of Mayflower descendants, some family lines extend beyond that. So these comprehensive genealogy document vital events, migration patterns, and historical details that significantly influence the lives of early descendants and even descendants today. So the silver books are invaluable when studying the colonial period more broadly. They reveal interconnected family lines and Mayflower patterns across the United States, including military service during the colonial wars and in the Revolutionary War. The silver books emphasize using records and sources to support those familial connections, proving descendancy. And the work is based on evidence from vital, church, and court records to establish kinship. The sketches within the books aren't intended to be an exhaustive biography. Rather, they are simplified biographies primarily aimed at proving lineage. Detailed sketches are encouraged for the first two generations, but the third generation and beyond are kept concise. And this approach simplifies the books for the lineage verification team and streamlines the volumes to prevent them from becoming really big and cumbersome. So these focused research goals allow the researchers to dedicate their efforts to proving additional generations rather than delving into extensive biographical details. The Silver Books, as I mentioned earlier, should be viewed as an encyclopedia of Mayflower descendants, serving as a finding aid that directs readers to the original records, thereby making these volumes a truly unique resource. In cases where direct evidence is lacking to confirm a child's parentage, the Silver Books employ the terms probable and possible designations based on the strength of indirect and circumstantial evidence. Probable indicates that a strong likelihood of the relationship aiding in approving membership applications, whereas possible is used with less confidence to prevent unnecessary research and quickly disqualify unsubstantiated applications. Importantly, sketches through possible children are not carried forward unless further documentation can substantiate the line, and those designations can change with further research. So the family sketches are in modified register style, and these genealogies begin with the earliest ancestor, in this case, the Mayflower passenger, and then move forward in time. And the register style involves using a specific numbering system, with the Mayflower passenger, of course, being assigned number one. And then sequential numbers are assigned to the children to have their sketches later in the book. Children who do not have children do not get a number and are not carried forward. The register style genealogy also assigns a generational number to each person in the line of descent, which are superscripted numbers placed after the person's first or middle name. Here you can see from this example that Peleg is a direct descendant of William Bradford, making it easy to follow the line of descent. Also included in the books are notes if the spouse is also a Mayflower descendant, which happens a lot. In this case, you can see that Lydia Sturtevant is a descendant of Mayflower passenger Francis Cook, so she would have her own sketch in the Cook volume as well. And I say the Mayflower passengers don't have a family tree. It more closely resembles creeping ivy. They're all intertwined. So beneath each family sketch is a reference section that contains documentation and abbreviated citations corresponding to the facts listed in that sketch, so you can easily find that information. The scope of work outlined for the Silver Books excludes sketches that rely on indirect or negative evidence to prove kinship. However, the books do cite well researched and scholarly articles, as well as proof arguments and complex analysis that are submitted with lineage applications. While the Silver Books don't contain proof arguments, they reference journal articles that further these lines. And this encourages you genealogists to write articles that can establish new lines. For those engaged in client work, problematic lineages represent a significant source of income, as many people struggle to connect generations and require complex proof arguments. Beginner genealogists sometimes find these challenging and even insurmountable, but professionals can solve them efficiently and then can be published. In order to understand how the Silver Books are organized, the reference guide to the GSMD Silver Book series is available to outline the project by the information contained in each book. Currently, 23 volumes are in print. Each volume, with the exception of the index volume, is dedicated to a single Mayflower passenger, also except for volume 15, which covers two families, Chilton and Moore. Several volumes are divided into multiple parts due to their extensive lineage of the families. For instance, volume 16 focuses on the Alden family. John Alden married another Mayflower passenger, Priscilla Mullins, and their large family has resulted in 6 parts to this volume. Other families like the Howlands, the Brewsters, the Warrens, and the Doties also span multiple parts across different volumes, which bring the total count of books to 44. This document is organized into 4 sections. The first provides an alphabetical listing detailing which generations or children each book covers. The second offers a concise 2-page chart. The third categorizes content by volume number. And then the fourth displays a timeline of the books and their publication dates. You can access this downloadable PDF on the GSMD website. And I also put a link to this PDF in your handout, and that's the URL at the bottom of the slide. An important addition to the project is the recently released Silver Book Index. Each silver book has its own index, requiring you to consult each book individually to review names listed. So we created a comprehensive Silverbook index that consolidates the indices from all 41 books into one compilation or three book volume. Creating this unified index was a massive undertaking and it was challenging, mainly due to the variations in name indexing. For example, the Merrick name is a name in colonial New England, and it appeared in 12 different forms with as many as 35 variations across all the indices. And that's just one of thousands of examples of such cases in the Silver Books. Despite these challenges, the information was compiled into three parts comprising almost 2,000 pages and 226,000 names. The comprehensive index has been enthusiastically received by genealogists and historians who use it daily, including myself. So the Silverbook Index lists unique names, not unique people. Individual people are not separated. Instead, every person of the same name is listed together. The index is organized by volume, part, and page. So the first number is the volume number. And if there's a number in brackets, that's the part number of which volume it's in. And then the number after the colon is the page number. For example, Abby Alden is in volume 16, part 3, page 83, as well as volume 16, part 6, page 326. Here you can clearly see names of the same person in multiple books. So Abaya Edison Alden is found in volume 10, page 105, as well as volume 16, part 1, pages 101, 345, and 346. And you can see other examples of people with the same name in other books as well. It's not uncommon for someone to be a Mayflower descendant through multiple families. Through this index, you can find the same name people quickly across multiple volumes. And this index is often the first step in the research process to see if the person of interest is published in any one of the 41 books. These books are for sale only on the GSMD website, and there are copies in the Family History Library, and a lot of local genealogy libraries have copies on their shelves. The fifth generation only is online at American Ancestors, and I believe I put all those in your handout as well. This quote from 1985 is one of my favorites. They realized that the project was 100 times larger than originally realized. Only one volume was envisioned when this project began, and that indicated that no one had the faintest notion of the scope of the project or the size of the huge genealogical tiger we now have by the tail. The the idea started with a small seed 126 years ago in 1899 and was formally launched over 6 decades ago in 1959, 66 years ago, and it's still growing strong. With more books being added continually, little did the original planners know what a huge undertaking they had initiated. As we conclude our exploration of the Silver Books, let's recap the key points that make these volumes an indispensable tool for genealogists interested in early American history. The Silver Book Project began as a comprehensive endeavor to document Mayflower descendants, and over time it has evolved into an extensive collection of 44 books and growing. Each book meticulously traces the genealogy of early families, capturing their migration patterns and providing a window into the past. The period covered by these books stretches from the early 1500s or late 1500s in Europe through the Mayflower's journey in 1620 and continues across the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. This extensive timeline offers genealogists and historians a valuable resource for understanding how these early settlers shaped the fabric of American society. The books preserve history of these early Americans and serve as a vital tool in verifying lineage for genealogy and historical research. Through their indexing and detailed documentation, they may make an excellent resource for tracing the lineage of Mayflower passengers and their early descendants. In summary, the Silver Books are much more than just books. They're a gateway to the past, a bridge to connect us to the foundational stories of early American families. So thank you for letting me join you today and learning about this remarkable resource. This is my email if you have any more questions, and I also put it in the handout. And I'm going to stop sharing so that way